A medieval farmer's boring daily routine. The day had not truly begun yet. The sky seemed undecided, as if it could remain night or slowly turn into morning. Inside the hut, the light was dim. The smell of soot and old smoke clung to the walls, mixing with damp earth to form a heavy, familiar air. The man lay on his back. The wool blanket covering him had shifted during the night, failing to fully keep out the cold. His breathing was slow, steady, his chest rising and falling slightly with each breath. For a while, he did not open his eyes. He was not sure whether he was awake or still asleep. Then a faint sound came from outside, the wind nudging the thatch on the roof. As it did every morning, that sound pulled him fully into wakefulness. He opened his eyes and stared at the ceiling. The dark soot stains had been there for as long as he could remember. He no longer remembered how many mornings he had spent looking at them. He sat up slowly. A dull ache ran through his lower back as he moved. He did not react. The pain was simply part of the morning now. He swung his legs over the edge of the bed and placed his feet on the ground. The dirt floor was cold, damp from the night. When his feet pressed into it, the soil gave slightly beneath his weight. He reached for the linen shirt hanging in the corner. The fabric was stiff and rough from countless washings. As he pulled it on, the fibers scraped lightly against his shoulders. He slipped a wool tunic over it. The tunic was heavy but familiar in its weight. He put on his leather shoes, misshapen and cracked with age. He tied the laces, untied them, then tied them again. His hands moved slowly but with certainty. When he opened the door, cool air rushed inside. For a moment, the heavy smell of the hut was pushed aside. The sky outside was still pale. A thin line of light stretched along the eastern horizon. The ground lay dark, but the dampness was clear. Dew clung to the grass unbroken. He paused in the doorway and listened. Somewhere in the distance, a rooster crowed. Another answered it moments later. The breeze was light, brushing against his face. He closed the door and walked toward the well. At the well, he grasped the wooden bucket and rope. The coarse fibers scraped against his palms. He lowered the bucket. A few seconds later, it struck the water with a dull sound. He hauled it back up, his shoulders tightening with the effort. The water was heavy. A few drops spilled over the rim and vanished into the dirt. He plunged his hands into the bucket. The cold numbed his fingers. He washed his face, water running from his forehead down his chin. For a moment, his breath caught, then steadied again. Water dripped from the ends of his beard and fell to the ground. When he opened the chicken coop, the birds stirred inside. The door creaked. One chicken darted out, then another. They immediately began scratching at the soil. He bent down and checked the straw. It was soft but slightly damp. He gathered the eggs one by one. The shells were warm. One was cracked. He set it aside. From the barn came the slow, impatient sound of breathing. The cow was restless. He opened the door. The air inside was warmer, thick with the animal smell. He set the bucket in place and began milking. His movements were repetitive, practiced. Milk struck the bucket in a steady rhythm. In the quiet of the morning, the sound felt almost like a clock marking time. When he finished, the bucket was full. He set it aside. He did not touch the cow's head. He simply placed more feed in front of it. The animal began eating immediately. Outside, the sky had brightened further. He knelt near the hut and built a small fire using wood from the night before. After a few attempts, the flame caught. Smoke rose and stung his eyes. He did not blink, only turned his head slightly away. The bread was hard. It made a small sound when he broke it. He warmed it by the fire. He cooked the cracked egg nearby, the shell splitting as a faint smell rose into the air. As he ate, he looked down at the ground. In the growing light, the earth slowly revealed its color. He chewed slowly, swallowed. He neither rushed nor lingered. When he finished, he wiped his hands on his tunic. He did not fully extinguish the fire, leaving embers for later. He went to the shed and took out his tools. He checked the wooden plow. The iron tip was loose, but not enough to fail today. He walked toward the field. Dew-soaked grass dampened his shoes. The soil was muddy. With every step, his feet felt heavier. The sun was rising now, its light spreading across the land. He lowered the plow and cut the first furrow. The earth split open. Dark, wet soil surfaced. He walked forward, turned, and pulled again. The movements were always the same. His shoulders began to burn. His breathing grew heavier. Still, he did not stop. Time stretched. The sun climbed higher. Birds filled the air with sound. He did not lift his head. The soil continued to open beneath the plow. Morning passed quietly, slowly becoming noon.